Russia claims female Ukrainian behind fatal car bomb. India says Taiwan's defense is vital to its security. Latvia to topple Soviet-era monument a week after Estonia. Melting of Swiss glaciers accelerates. COVID has exacerbated decline in births and marriages in China. Popular manga app seeks 2023 IPO in Tokyo.
Hello, I'm Wade Lee. Thank you for joining us on FUNDAY News. It is Wednesday, August 24th, and here are your top stories. Russia's FSB security service on Monday, August 22nd, claimed that Natalia Volk, who is in the Ukrainian army, entered Moscow to assassinate Putin's close ally, Alexander Dugin, before fleeing to Estonia. The FSB said that Volk used her 12-year-old daughter to help her locate Daria Dugina. She then rented an apartment in the same building as Dugina and observed her for a month before following her to a festival on Saturday. After planting the bomb, Volk and her daughter drove a Mini Cooper with false plates to Estonia.
Now, this unconfirmed video is believed to show a distraught Alexander Dugin at the site of the explosion that killed his daughter, Daria Dugina.
Pro-Russia websites have labeled Vavk as a member of the Azov regiment and called her an Azov fighter, but military specialists questioned the seemingly quick solution and said it was highly unlikely a Ukrainian soldier could so easily travel and enter Russia. In addition, the claim comes amid Russia's plan to hold a tribunal to try captured personnel from the Azov regiment as terrorists sometime soon. The Azov regiment said, "The terrorist attack itself is a preparation for the tribunal over the people of Azov."
Arunachal Pradesh is a state in northeastern India that shares a disputed border with China in the north at the McMahon Line. Indian defense and foreign affairs expert Braham Chanelli warned India that if China takes Taiwan, the next target could be Arunachal Pradesh, which Chinese maps already show as part of China. Therefore, Chanelli said, Taiwan's security is very important to Indian security. He said that despite 28 months having passed, China's campaign to conquer Ladakh region continues.
You have to be clear that, when Xi Jinping moves on Taiwan, it won't be like Putin invading Ukraine. That's not the Chinese style. The Chinese style has been to incrementally commit aggression.
The 28 months of what Shalini is referring to are the skirmishes on May 5th, 2020, where Chinese and Indian troops engaged in aggressive face-offs and skirmishes at locations along the Sino-Indian border, including near the disputed Pangong Lake in Ladakh and eastern Ladakh along the line of actual control. Shalini cited an article on Foreign Affairs as saying, "The situation in the Indo-Pacific region has changed dramatically, and that it is now time for India to strengthen its political ties with Taiwan."
Latvia will tear down a Soviet-era monument on Tuesday that commemorates the Red Army's victory over Nazi Germany. The monument, built in 1985 while Latvia was still part of the Soviet Union, stands in the capital Riga's Victory Park. It has an 80-meter concrete spire with a Soviet star on top, with two groups of statues besides the edge of a pond. The move comes a week after Estonia removed a similar landmark.
The conflict in Ukraine has renewed an argument about how Latvia's history is remembered. The Museum of the Occupation of Latvia provides context.
Local police have erected a yellow fence to cordon off the area near the monument. The concrete obelisk is a part of a complex that includes two groups of statues, which are a band of 3 Red Army soldiers on one side and a woman representing the motherland with her arms held high on the other. The whole complex will be taken down using machinery. Baltic countries such as Latvia, Estonia, and Lithuania have removed many monuments glorifying the Soviet Union or communist leaders.
Switzerland's glaciers amount to about half of all the total glaciers in the European Alps. But Switzerland's 1,400 glaciers lost more than half of their total volume from the early 1930s till 2016. and the ice retreat is accelerating. From 2016 to 2022, the glaciers have lost an additional 12%. According to the government data, the finding could have broad implications for Switzerland's long-term energy sources, since hydropower produces nearly 60% of the country's electricity.
Across Europe's world-famous mountain range, glaciers are in retreat, 500 gone forever. Like the Rhone, an 11,000-year-old avalanche of ice now shrinking dramatically.
Researchers from ETH Zurich and the Swiss Federal Institute on Forest, Snow, and Landscape Research said not all Swiss glaciers have been losing ice at the same rates. Altitude, amounts of debris on the glaciers, and the flatness of a glacier's snout all affect the speeds of ice retreat. The researchers also found that two periods in the 1920s and the 1980s actually experienced sporadic growth in glacier mass, but that was overshadowed by the broader trend of decline.
China's National Health Commission said COVID-19 has contributed to the decline in the country's marriage and birth rates, which has accelerated in recent years due to the high cost of education and child rearing. Reuters said China had a fertility rate of 1.16 in 2021, one of the lowest rates in the world, and below the 2.1 rate the OECD sees as necessary for a stable population. Demographers said it is a potential crisis that will test its ability to pay and care for its elderly.
Reuters reported that to counter the problem, authorities at national and provincial levels have introduced measures such as tax breaks, longer maternity leave, enhanced medical insurance, housing subsidies, and extra money for a third child over the past year. However, demographers have said that China's uncompromising zero-COVID policy of promptly stamping out any outbreaks with strict controls on people's lives may have caused profound, lasting damage on their desire to have children.
South Korean messaging giant Kakao's Manga business is pushing back plans to go public on the Tokyo Stock Exchange until next year, aiming for a valuation of $6 billion or more. According to people familiar with the matter, Manga app operator Kakao Piccoma had previously planned an initial public offering for this December, but is delaying the process amid slumming tech valuation. Piccoma was valued at about $6.2 billion when it raised funds last year, and the company hopes to maintain that threshold when it goes public.
People familiar with the matter said its IPO will likely take place during the first half of the year, but plans remain flexible and hinge on market prices. According to data tracker Data AI, Piccoma's monthly readership hit a June quarter high of 9.5 million, compared with about 2 million in August 2017. That helped it rank 8th globally among non-gaming apps by monthly sales in June. The app offers the first few chapters of most cartoons for free. It charges users who want to keep on reading or wait 24 hours for another free manga.
And that is all the time we have for today. Thank you for joining us on FUNDAY News. Let's make every day a fun day. I am Wade Lee, your host, and I'll see you next time.